This is King David for David and Goliath Music, and this is part of sampling series. This is actually volume 2. Now I want to give credit to an incredible artist that a lot of younger people do not know about. This man's name is Freddie Jackson. He is an R&B superstar from back in the 80s and the 90s, and his voice is one of a kind. He used to have some hits such as Rock With Me Tonight, You Are My Lady, He'll Never Love You, Jam, and the song we're working with today is called Just a Touch Away. Let me play for you the original version. And what I did is I pulled this from a record. So I can go ahead and play you what I pulled from the record. The actual record was at a different speed and I had to speed it up. I also added some bass into it. So the original record, it's gonna it's a real laid back R&B kind of smooth mix. And what makes it hot is that it's kind of similar to Juicy. You know, it's got some of the same sounds. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is show you the process that I went through. First of all, I played it on a record player and ran it through my mixer. I added some bottom on it because a lot of times the old records, they don't have as much bass as some of the, the new CDs to have. And what I did is I ran it into Adobe Audition, and I'll show you what that looks like right here. Okay, and this is what it looks like after I got it into Adobe Audition. I'm just going to take you through the process really quick, starting new with a new sample. And you can use this in any other editor. You could use one of the other wave editors. You can even use the Fruity Loops wave editor. I like Adobe Audition a whole lot. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, add my bass, set my record player to start at the beginning of the song, and I'm going to go ahead and press record, and we're just going to start recording the part of the song we want to get, and it's right at the beginning. Alright, here we go. Okay, now we can hit stop and turn off of our record player because I've got all the loop that I needed. And what I did was I picked this portion of the loop. I'll show you. As you can see, by pressing F8 I was able to set a loop point so I can know where the end of my sample is going to be. And then I'll go to the beginning. I'll chop off everything I don't need. I don't need that. And I'll stretch it out so that I can get a good, accurate starting point. Alright, it looks like it's somewhere around there. I'm going to start early though. And I can test it by just pressing the space bar or pressing play to see where it starts and stops. Okay, and this looks like this is my stopping point, but I want to get it perfect, so I'm going to go back to where I think it should be, and that's it, and I'm going to chop off the rest. Okay, chopped. Alright, now what I'll do is I'll expand it and loop it and see if it sounds right. Perfect. So that's exactly the process that I did to get to where I needed to be. Okay. One of the things I recognized is it was too slow, so I had to speed it up and get it to a speed that was usable, right? So what I did was I went in and I used what's called a pitch, and I stretched it. Okay, and I set my ratio to 104. So now let's listen to what it sounds like now, faster. Now I had to set it so that a rapper or someone singing could sing on top of it. Here's the original. You hear that? Now let's listen to the sped up version. Okay, here we go. Alright, So I like it. I'm going to go OK. Then the next thing I'm going to do is hit a noise reduction, because I want to get all the hiss out of that. A lot of times when you're dealing with record players, you're going to have background hiss and you know that little pop sound that record players make. I wanted to get all that stuff out of there. Alright. Good. Still some hiss in there, so what I'm going to do after doing that noise reduction, I'm going to do a hiss reduction. Hiss reduction. Light. Alright. Alright, now I want my sample to be as loud as I possibly can make it, so I'm going to go to Normalize. Normalize, what that does is it brings it up to the highest possible volume without distorting. Bam, you see that? Okay, so the next thing I need to do is just save this. I'll save this as, I saved the first one as Freddie Jackson or Fred Jackson. I'm going to save this as Fred Jackson 2. This way I'll know that this is number 2, not the first one. Alright, bam. So there we have it. So now I'm pretty much done with Adobe Audition. I can go now to Fruity Loops and begin to work with Fruity Loops. Okay, so the next step that I took after getting my sample right was importing the sample into Fruity Loops. Okay, and I'll show you really quickly how I did that. Okay, once I saved my sound in Adobe Audition, I saved it to my music folder. For those who don't know how to do this, you can go to Options, File Settings. When you get to File Settings, you can go and add any folder that you'd like to the sound browser. So if you have, let's say, my music folder, you can go in and left click on that and go to your My Music folder, boom, and just add that. So this way when you search over here in your sound browser, your My Music folder will be there and all your sounds are there. You see, all we had to do now is go to My Music and look for Fred Jackson. And there it is. There's Fred Jackson 2, Fred Jackson 1. See? What if I wanted to do, I could use both waves so that I had kind of like two different sounds. Alright? I want you to hear the track. And this is the finished version of the track, and when we come back we're going to go step by step through the whole process on how we laid out the whole track. Okay, so now you know the beginning of the track was laid by grabbing the sample, manipulating the sample, cleaning the sample, and then importing the sample. Here's the track. I'll talk to you on the next segment. David for David and Goliath Music.